headphones, it's time to mob it up. We're the Colts crew, ain't no one above us. Breaking down the news, rumors and games, keeping it real, no one can tell. Every Tuesday, bringing that heat with special guests. Reporters will meet players in the house, bringing the A-game. Talking about the Colts, or all about the fame. We're the hottest sports podcast, no doubt. Covering the Colts, hear the fans shout. From Lucas Oil to the Super Bowl, with a HorseShoe Mob, keeping you in the fold. Let's go, HorseShoe Mob, we're storming through the town. Harris, Austin, Josh, and Chris, we never slow down. Everything Colts, we got the blue pride, making Indianapolis proud. We're taking this ride on the pretty vine. We're a force to be reckoned with every touchdown. We keep the city beckoning, we bleed blue. Our love for the Colts run deep, we'll keep cheering. We're the hottest sports podcast, no doubt. Covering the Colts, hear the fans shout. From Lucas Oil to the Super Bowl, with a HorseShoe Mob. Yeah. It's the hottest sports podcast, no doubt, covering the Colts.
What's going on, people? Welcome back. As you can see, got a couple guys who are here. Got some guys who aren't, but you know what? The guys, they'll be back. Harish, Austin, they'll be back with us next week. But you know what? The great thing is we always got some friends coming on. We always got some people who are jumping in. And, we have just that. So, before we actually go ahead and get to our special guest, make sure that you are liking, commenting, and sharing, on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Make sure that you're not just following, but sharing the YouTube as well. We appreciate that. And yeah, let's just get into it. So welcome back to the HorseShoe Mob podcast, covering everything Colts and slandering the Titans every now and then because they love Mayo. So like I said, we're going to make sure that we cover some things. We had a very special thing happen today, and we'll be getting to that soon. But before we do, first, we're just going to go ahead and just introduce our guys before we introduce our very, very special guest that we have with us. But yeah, so we have with us Josh Sr.
What's good?
And you know me, I'm Chris Jackson as usual. And so without further ado, let's get to our special guest, co-host of Bring the Juice Pod. If you've ever been to a Colts training camp, you might have seen him on the field just doing some interviews. I'm going to say he's a Pacers fan, but guys, let's not get too crazy. I know that y'all went ham on him yesterday. Can we relax a little bit? All right. But we have with us the Bring the Juice Pod's very own Cody Felger. Cody, welcome. We welcome. Appreciate you for coming on. Thank you. Like I said, we appreciate you for being daring and, just gracing us. And yeah. So for those who don't know you, let people know about yourself.
Yeah, man. Glad to be on. Like I said, been doing this for a while now. So starting to get, a feel for it. And, we were joking off there, man. It's that point in the off season where there's not a whole lot going on. So fortunate we got some sort of stuff with the Colts till, July, August. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Jeez.
Wait.
So yeah. So it's yeah. This is what we said before. This is that season where not much is happening. I think the NBA playoffs are just like they're cool. I don't think anybody really pays attention to baseball. So right now we're like starving for like NFL news. And you know what? We did this on a Wednesday because we got some. But before we go into that, make sure you're visiting www.fanbattlesports.com for all AFC South related news. But you don't care about the AFC South. You care about the Colts. So you'll be able to get all your Colts content from us. You'll be able to get articles, past episodes. You'll be able to see bios for all of our hosts. And yeah, so without further ado, let's go ahead and just get into it. So very, very good thing today. We actually were able to see the schedules were released. I'm going to say maybe about an hour and a half ago, roughly. Yep. And it was exactly as we thought it might be. I think we all kind of knew what the games will be that we would play this year. But we actually got a chance to just go ahead and see the full schedule. And I'm not gonna lie, I like the schedule. What about you guys? Matter of fact, we'll start off with Cody. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I know kind of the talk was one primetime game, but um I think it's fine. I'm good with it. I do like the start of the year. I do like getting that revenge against the Houston Texans right away.
Yes.
Definitely will take that, no doubt about that. Definitely gotta get the revenge there. But yeah, overall, looking at the schedule for Indy, I mean, Green Bay, a lot of these games at one, which is definitely interesting. Yeah, the one primetime game, I don't like. I want a game at Lucas Oil in primetime, man. That's all I want. So now I'm holding out hope that maybe one of those final two games, maybe there can be something there, but I guess we'll have to see. It would be awesome to have Jacksonville in primetime for week 18, but yeah, it's unfortunate. I thought the Colts might warrant at least another primetime game, but it is what it is. But it'll be interesting with just so many new look teams, if you will, like a lot of new quarterbacks, which will be really interesting to see for Indy. And I think the competition level, probably a little bit for the Colts, at least on paper, is definitely up from where it was a year ago. So I'm interested to see how all that works.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we have first comment. He said Sarah Small from YouTube says, "Hey, I'm ready for the Colt season. I think we win 10 to 12 games this year. Love you all." Sarah, I love the enthusiasm. Now 10 to 12. 10 to 12 listen, we went 9-8 last year. So I understand that. I don't think that there will be a drop off. I mean, honestly, I think if this team stays healthy, 10 to 12 is fair.
There's possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were a couple stupid calls away and dumb plays away from winning 10, 11 games. So
yeah,
it's possible, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, this year you have a little bit more continuity when it comes to the offense. I think AR is going to definitely bring a whole new dimension. Because I mean, let's be honest, it's just like Gardner, he did well enough, but without him having that mobility, without him being able to really move around, it's just like teams aren't going to play a read option with Gardner Minshew. Let's just be honest about that. So we know what that's going to be. But Josh, what do you think about the schedule?
Yeah, like Cody said, it'd be interesting to paint the young quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks early on with well, you got Jordan Love, you got you got Caleb,
you got Justin Fields or Russell Wilson.
Yeah, or both.
Well, Justin Fields going to be returning kicks, so there you go.
Yeah, you're right about that.
he is going to be a special teams aficionado.
I like what Cody said about the last game of the season. Good thing it's not in Jacksonville, so it'd be at home if it is flex. Having a primetime game at home, and we get to redeem ourselves from what we did last year. So it'd be interesting.
I can't stand another Week 18 game or final season game in Jacksonville.
Oh my God! Yeah, yes, that's why I was like, yes, I'm happy. We played them. I think week 5 in Jacksonville. So. You get that out of the way with in case it's the L. Move forward with that. But I think we break 2 curses. I know we're not going to get to details, but I think we break 2 curses this year.
Yeah. See, so the thing is, you can't sit there and say we're going to break 2 curses and then say we're not going to get into detail. Yes.
Well, I can go in detail then. Week 1, we got to get the season opener. We haven't done that in, I think, 9 years. I think 10. It's time. We are home. We get a chance to be the team that eventually won the division last year. Just stupid plays that caused us to lose the game. And then in Jacksonville, week 5, we got to get that. That's I think about the same as we haven't won a season opener. So I'm intrigued on that. So we definitely got to break that curse on both of those games.
Yeah. I'm going to say probably one of the more interesting matchups on here is actually – 2 of them. I think the Dolphins week 7 and the Lions week 12 because Jared Goff just signed that big deal. And then, I mean, the Dolphins, we don't know whether or not Tua is going to sign his deal during the season or what's going to happen. But, I mean, that's a team that has a lot of firepower, and that's going to be very interesting to see exactly like how that goes because, we know that we've played the Dolphins previously, but definitely not in this state. I think the last time that we played them was when Carson Wentz was still on the team.
And they have Brissett.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Well,
Miami did have Brissett. Yeah. We
oh,
played
they
them in
did have
Miami.
Brissett. Okay.
We beat them pretty bad in Miami.
Yeah. Oh no. We. I was at that game.
Yeah.
Listen. I was at that game. I was baking. I was baking like a potato. It was hot, but it was good nonetheless. So. But yeah, so just kind of just walking through this portion of this, or walking through the schedule. So weeks 1 through 4, Texans, Packers, Bears, Steelers. So this is a slate that's going to have 3 out of 4 of those games at home.
Mhm.
So Cody, even with like some of the new look offenses, like with the Steelers, with the Bears, I mean, we're going to see CJ Stroud for the 3rd time in 2 years. And then, of course, we're playing against the Packers, who generally we do pretty well against the Packers. What do you foresee in terms of that portion of the schedule? And once again, just completely assuming everybody's healthy, we're all good.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think it's going to be a huge statement coming out week 1, kind of set the tone for the season, right? Because, I mean, Green Bay, yeah, I mean, definitely Jordan Love, what they do over there. I mean, they're going to be a tough game, no doubt about that. But like you said, like the first 3 out of 4 games are at home. So you have a great opportunity to kind of get out of the gate immediately hot. And, some games that I think are honestly winnable, especially, obviously we talk about Houston, that's a must win. I mean, all these games are must win, but you got Chicago we're a rookie quarterback, one of the worst teams in football last year. And then you got Pittsburgh, and you don't know with Pittsburgh, like Russell Wilson. What are we going to get with Russell Wilson? Is it going to be Russell Wilson a couple years ago or Russell Wilson the last couple of years? So
yeah,
I think there's a great chance here with, there's obviously a couple good quarterbacks, but there's some question marks at quarterback in terms of being a rookie or, just being Russell Wilson. So I think there's a great chance here for Indy to, come out the gate with a winning record through the first 4 weeks, no doubt.
Yeah. And then just moving on then. So Josh, at Jaguars, at Titans, Dolphins are playing us, or Dolphins are playing in Lucas Oil, and then Texans are playing at and then we're playing the Texans at NRG. So we have that first slate where we're 3 out of 4 games at home, and then those next 4 games are going to be 1 or 3 out of 4 games away. So knowing that we have the Jags in Jacksonville, which it's in October, so that means that it's going to be humid and there's going to be infestations of rat poop at the stadium. So we have that, and then we have the Titans. They're going to be slinging mayo all over the place. Dolphins, and then the Texans at NRG. So generally not too worried about the Texans at NRG because they don't show up for games. But how are we feeling with that slate of games, being that we're going to be heavily away?
I'm not feeling good about those 4 games. And like I said, starting with Jacksonville, in Jacksonville, it's been a tough place to play. We don't play well at all. Like it seems like we always crap the bed going to Jacksonville. And then playing Miami, who just signed Odell Beckham last week. I mean, like you said, adding more power to their offense and having a quarterback that right now haven't been assigned yet. So he's going to be motivated to play well to get that contract extension.
Mm-hmm.
In Houston, depending on what happened week 1, Houston is going to look for revenge back at home with their firepower, with, adding DX and having the weapons that they have. It's going to be tough. And who was Tennessee? I mean, we badly escaped that game in Tennessee. We had to win in overtime with Gardner Minshew. I still feel comfortable with that game, but that 4-game stretch, we can win 1 out of the 4, and I can say that would be possibly Tennessee.
1 out of the 4, okay.
I'm not too happy with that. I mean, I hope it would be Jacksonville. I'm just not ready to. I mean, like I said, I want to break that curse. It's just I don't know. It's something about Jacksonville where Indy goes there and we crap the bed. Everybody else in the division goes to Jacksonville and can win, except us. I don't know what it is.
And Cody, I know that you look like you had something stewing over there. What were your thoughts on that portion of the schedule?
Yeah, that is probably the. Well, I say that, but then you look at, moving forward, there's also some tough opponents. I mean, kind of like, the middle of the season, that's where it gets tough, man. Like you talk about, yeah, like you haven't won in Jacksonville in years. Tennessee, that's very winnable. Miami and Houston, both teams that people would say, are some of the potentially better teams in the NFL right now. So, I mean, you definitely are going to have a challenge with all these teams and teams that just can sling the football, like teams that honestly can take advantage of this young Colt secondary. So that is why it's very concerning. Just because of that, because like you mentioned, even Tennessee, I mean, they've got some weapons. So it definitely is concerning to see, especially this portion of the schedule. Now, again, the Colts have an opportunity to do some things they haven't done and, win some games they maybe aren't favored in, which I don't know if they'd be favored in a couple of these games. We'll see. But yeah, I think it is going to be tough, but I mean, I think this is where the Colts need to show up and they need to prove like, hey, that wasn't last year, wasn't a fluke. Like we are a team that is a serious playoff contender. So yeah, it's going to be tough, but I mean, that's what they got to do, man. And definitely, especially even just being away, that makes it even a little bit tougher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's go to get to just. Sarah says, I wanted at least 2 more primetime games. And then she says, I think we can get 2 or 3 in the middle. So actually, if I'm looking at this schedule as it is right now, like this portion of it, I'm going to say maybe 2 out of these 4. And only because of the fact that I can see possibly splitting with the Titans. I think maybe they're guided a little bit better this year, or splitting with the Texans. So the thing is, it's just like I can see if we take week 1, possibly losing in week 8. But I think, honestly, the Dolphins is a win. And the only reason why is because I think the D-line is much better than it was. And I think this is a D-line that's going to be able to disrupt a lot of what teams are looking to do. And I think the biggest thing is the fact that if you have Latu, who's going to be coming in just being as disruptive as we believe he is, then we'll definitely be able to make sure that you're throwing off Tua. Because a lot of the stuff that they do is a lot of rhythm, it's a lot of timing. And I don't care how fast Tyreek is. If you can go and get to the quarterback quickly, it doesn't matter what you're going to look to do. It's going to mess up a cadence and it's going to mess up whatever he has planned to do. And that's another reason why I think it's just like we saw a little bit of that with Levis last year. I mean, CJ Stroud, he was playing behind 3rd and 4th string O-linemen like early in the season. And I mean, it looked like he was able to adjust. I just hate Jacksonville because, Jacksonville's Jacksonville. Like it's like 117 degrees. With 85% humidity in October. So it's like it's the worst. Like it's the absolute worst. But yeah, I could see possibly like squeaking out like 2 out of 4 of those. But
yeah, the Miami game is the one I'm worried about because they'll be on turf. We'll be at home, and you got those fast guys on turf with Odell, Waddle, and Hill without a young secondary. So that's my only question mark on that game.
Yeah, but I think Odell's a complimentary piece, but I think he's the guy who you now go to if you need like those short-handed catches, because I don't foresee him still being able to be as explosive as he was. I mean, he's somebody who now is just like there's no ACLs. So we know it's just like he might be able to go ahead and just get you on some plays here and there, but I think he's more so just going to be that guy that you have to account for, but he's not going to hit you the way that, Cleveland Odell did.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Cody, the next stretch, Vikings at US Bank Stadium, Bills at home, Jets, which is the primetime game, and then Lions at home. So Vikings, Bills, Jets, Lions. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is kind of the brutal part of the schedule, isn't it? Because there's some pretty good teams in here still. It doesn't get any easier, does it? I mean,
no.
I mean, Minnesota, rookie quarterback, or Sam Darnold. So, I mean, that's nice. I think hopefully you take care of business there.
Yeah.
Buffalo, although the Colts have had some success against Buffalo, so I'm not. And Buffalo basically got rid of their entire secondary. So
Yeah.
you know what? I think that's definitely, especially at home, that's definitely a game I think Indy can take care of. Especially if they're making Josh Allen make mistakes. We've seen him be prone to that,
Yeah.
turnovers and untimely plays. So I think they have a chance there. New York's a wild card to me because I just don't know. I don't think they're a great team, but I mean Aaron Rodgers. I mean you didn't see him at all last year hardly. So I mean could they actually be a playoff contender with him? I don't know. Like I have no idea. I could go the same way he did last year, or he could get back to form a little bit. I know he's old, but he's
You're good, yeah.
No, he is old. He is old. But the thing, like, I think the Jets truly are a wild card because you don't really know like what you're getting with them. I mean, they're a team that's very, very that can be up and down. And I think even with him at quarterback, it's going to be very hard to just sit there and justify that they're automatically like an 11-win team.
Right.
I mean, they might be. It might be them and the Dolphins, because I don't see the Bills being a contender the way they have previously. Because not only did they get rid of like their whole entire secondary, but if you look at the offense, they got rid of Diggs and Davis, and they added Keon Coleman, and I think did they just add like Valdez-Scantling or something?
Yeah. And somebody else I can't remember.
So yeah, it's Keon Coleman, Valdez-Scantling, and whoever else they got from the ShopRite cashier line. So yeah, it's I don't see them being that way. Now, mind you, it's not taking anything away from Josh Allen because I think Josh Allen is good. He's not elite, but he's good. Wait, Cody, are you one of those people who think that Josh Allen is elite?
I don't. I think he's physically gifted, but I just don't think he's been consistent enough to be considered. Like I think there's other quarterbacks I'd take ahead of Josh Allen right now that are more consistent. Like the wild plays are obvious. That I don't know. Like I mean, I think the success in the playoffs kind of speaks for itself. It should have probably been to a couple Super Bowls by now, but I mean. Yeah, the inconsistency for me is just I just can't put him there in good faith. I just can't.
Gotcha. Okay, and that's fair, and I'm completely okay with that because I argue with people all the time that try to say like Josh Allen is elite, and then every single time that you bring something up, it's just like, well, no, it's like, come on, man, what are we doing here? We don't need to do this.
When they say elite, I mean he definitely can't be in the top 5. He definitely cannot be.
Right.
So yeah, that's not
absolutely elite. Yeah. It's like, what's your definition of elite? I guess.
Yeah, and I think for me, and if we're talking about elite play, I think it's just being able to just play truly consistently over time, and showing that no matter how you interchange pieces, you're still able to play at a very high level. I mean, for me, it's just like I think if we're talking about just like elite play. You can, of course, Mahomes is, he's not, it's not elite like there. It's like literally it's a picture of him and then it's elite and then it's a box around him and the word elite. Like that's where he is. And then, of course, I think there's people that are just kind of knocking at that door. Like Joe Burrow, I think is kind of knocking maybe at that elite door. Josh Allen, I think he's great. I think he's really great. I just don't think that he's an elite quarterback. I think this year, if he can win this year with that wide receiver core, with like your best wide receiver being a rookie, and not taking anything away from Keon Coleman because he is media gold, but I think I think he can cement the case possibly for being elite if he can actually like really just take this team farther than they've been before, knowing exactly what they lost this past offseason.
Yeah, I do agree. He hasn't. I mean, every quarterback that we do put in the elite category has won with less. Josh Allen has to have a perfect team to win, and even having Diggs, he didn't do anything. Pretty much forced him out to Houston. So, yeah, definitely can't be elite if he can't win with a good team and can't win with a bad team. He said with Mahomes, he won with receivers that nobody knows.
Yeah, I mean, he got there with Valdez-Scantling and Kadarius Toney. I mean, if that's not elite, I don't know what is. And then we have a couple more comments that said we'll split with Houston and sweep Tennessee. It says 3-1 in that stretch. MVS is a choke artist. Josh Allen is good, but elite is going a bit far. So can we go back to this to the choke artist thing? Because the thing is, Valdez Scantling has never really been like good enough to be considered a choke artist. I think in order to be a choke artist, you have to have you have to actually be good over a certain amount of time. And I don't think the expectation is that Valdez Scantling is going to be 1,000-yard receiver, because I don't even think he's ever gotten 1,000 yards in a season.
Right.
I think
No, he didn't.
I think he's choked many of times, but I don't think he's a choke artist because that would imply that he's actually like good consistently. So yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. But then moving on. So during that stretch, weeks 9 through 12, what do you have that record at?
Oh, let's see. Sorry, I think I accidentally closed the window on my schedule there.
All good.
I hate when that happens.
Not a problem.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So I would probably say, honestly, 3-1. If we're throwing in Detroit, because Detroit's just, I mean, they're just so good.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat Detroit, but so I would say 3-1. Like you said, I just don't think Buffalo's really there anymore. I don't think New York, for as much as the Aaron Rodgers factor is definitely something. I just don't think it's enough to overcome. I don't think they're a good team. I really don't think they're that great of a football team. So they have pieces, but I just don't know as a team how great they are. So they're the true wild card, but I'm going to venture on the side that they're not probably as good as maybe some folks are hyping them up to be. So I'm going to say 3-1 there for Indy.
3-1. Okay. And then this is the big stretch. So right now, this is like December into January. So we have Patriots bye week 14. And by the way, Patriots at Gillette Stadium, Broncos at a Mile High. Then we got Titans at Lucas Oil. Week 17 is Giants at MetLife, but that's to be determined. So right now, oh God, and I just realized we got to play at MetLife twice.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, that is.
Yeah.
Oh God,
we gotta get one of those or both.
No, I'm talking about because their field is awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, Jesus. Oh God. All right, and then we have Jaguars at Lucas Oil. Now the thing is, both of those games are to be determined. So I have a feeling that depending on how that goes, depending on how successful the teams are, if for some reason, let's just say one of, if not both teams are successful, those could potentially be flexed into a different game, because if that's for the NFC East, but if it's for AFC South, then also, that's what could happen. And then that would be like the two-part saga leading up to the Jaguars game on the week 18.
Wow.
So like I said, so what do we have? Patriots at Gillette, Broncos at Mile High, Titans at Lucas Oil, and then we have Giants at MetLife, and then Jaguars at Lucas Oil.
Man, I want to say 5-0 so bad. I want to say,
yeah, I'm thinking the same thing too.
But I guess I'll say 4-1 because is there a team that's more surprisingly competitive than we think? Maybe. But again, you're facing two rookie quarterbacks. You're facing Will Levis, and then you're facing Daniel Jones if he's still healthy at that point. But again, there are some harsh environments you are going into, so maybe, who knows, maybe that does factor in, and they don't play up to their standards in a game or two. So I'm gonna stick with 4-1 though. I think that's definitely an opportunity there. So I think this is definitely where the schedule gets a little bit more favorable for them, and it's perfect especially if they're contending for division or wild card spot or something like that. So,
what would be that one game that we could lose to possibly? Are you favoring maybe New England or Jacksonville?
Probably, yeah, probably. I mean, New England, like that game was just such a slogfest last year. I know the Colts didn't, but New England has a good defense. Like they really do, especially in Foxborough. That's tough. But I don't know. That's tough. I'd probably say, Jacksonville though, like they've still got some pieces. So, I probably favor Jacksonville, just because I think they're clearly a better team. But I think if there's any place they lose, I would say Foxborough. In this schedule.
Okay. What
I don't
about you,
like that.
Josh? Yeah, I don't. I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, like I said, I mean, us playing New England got a rookie quarterback, rookie head coach. And is it Gerard Mayo?
Yeah.
Mhm.
The first time being a head coach. Who knows what happened at the end of that season? What's going on their end for us record wise? So I mean, going into that game, get a bye week, beating Denver. I mean, playing Denver. I mean, we do good with Denver in Denver or in Indy. Tennessee at home, possibly could sweep them. And Giants. The last time we played the Giants against Daniel Jones, he cooked us really bad, really really bad. I wasn't too fond of that game. And Jacksonville is a wild card game for me because it seems like despite them having a good team, we did good with them last year in week 1 in Indy. We lost by 10, and we had a chance to go score at the end, but things didn't work out that way. So I just don't know about that last game. It just Jacksonville being a team that could potentially eliminate our season again. That's what I'm not too fond of. But hopefully we take care of business and we don't have to rely on that game to be the game to get in or win the division. If so, I hope we can fare well in that game. Shane Steichen will have the guys ready, prepared. As he did last year, we just was a play short, 4th down and I think a yard short. So I got a feeling that we're going to see a different team led by Anthony Richardson with added pieces, the guys that have a chip on their shoulder with A.D. Mitchell and Latu. So I think we got our chance. I like our chances versus anybody else actually.
Yeah. So then, what do you have the record being by the end of that stretch?
I'm going to go with Cody, man. 4-1, man. but that one game can possibly, mine would be like maybe New England or Tennessee.
Yeah. So, you know what? I think not necessarily because of the reasons that we kind of talked about or that you guys talked about. Because like I said, it's all valid reasons because of, how we played against them. But we also have to go ahead and just address the elephant in the room where we're facing more rookies. So the thing is, we'll be facing off against Drake May week 13. And then we're going to be facing off against Bo Nix. And that's week 15. So, I mean, between those 2 weeks and then you're going up against Levis, who's, the oldest quarterback in the AFC South, even though he's a second-year quarterback. Like I said, not making fun of the guy, but he's a little old. And then we have Daniel Jones and then Trevor Lawrence. So on quarterback play alone, I have to agree. I mean, I don't know exactly what Will Levis is going to look like towards the end of the season because, like I said, it's just like playing them week 16. By then, it's just like we know it's a dogfight all season. I mean, I think, honestly, 4-1 is absolutely very doable. I think we're definitely going to end up seeing a lot more action from the rookies than we would have liked to see or that we want to see because, why not? I like the fact they have to get out there. So, honestly, I think 4-1 is absolutely doable. So, I like that. I like that stretch. I mean, as you guys stated, the probably like weeks 5 through 8, maybe 9 through 12 is going to be a dogfight. But the beginning of the schedule and probably the end of the schedule is probably where we're going to see like the most leeway in terms of what it is. And God forbid any injuries. We hope everybody stays healthy. I mean, if everybody can stay healthy, then this is a team where, according to what we've talked about thus far, has a good chance to go 10-11 wins. So, I mean, honestly, it's just I think that's something that we could absolutely do. Now, are there any revisions that you have that maybe you're just like, I kind of caught myself. Let's see what we got. Or do we just feel like we're like 100% confident with what we said in regards to this?
I feel pretty good about 10-11 wins. I think that's pretty fair. Obviously, we know what the wild cards are with this team, with AR's health and a couple other factors, just health in general. I think for this team, and can AR develop into that guy? I think that really will change. A lot of stuff here because it's bad. As much as we like to rag on Gardner Minshew at times, like he was serviceable enough. Now I don't know if Joe Flacco, like he obviously had a crazy run last year. But does he have that capability to do that? And obviously, you hope you never get to that point. But that ultimately, I think if AR is healthy, which is the big if, and hopefully he can be. Hopefully it was just a freak thing. I think this team absolutely can win 10, 11 games, no problem.
Okay. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, I agree. That's the question mark right there. Is our quarterback, and also our secondary, being young as they are. I'm hoping that we can sign a veteran guy beforehand, not have to rely on those young guys. Having Dallas Flowers coming back, I have to rely on Juju and Jalen Jones. And they have hoping Kenny Moore have a season like he did last year. It's gonna be key for that secondary. Also having another maybe a veteran safety. So who knows what happened between now and the season starts. But yeah, our quarterback is going to be the main factor. I saw something, I'm not sure where it come from, but they said that AR is ahead of steam for the playbook. So I love that.
Yeah, and I think this is the way that we're going to see exactly like how this season goes, because I know that the secondary is still young secondary, but I think also, if this pass rush actually ends up being anywhere close to being as legit as we may believe it is or as we think it is, then there's a good chance that we'll be fine. Because the one thing that will always be a tremendous help to a young secondary is a great pass rush. Because, like I said, guys won't have to overthink coverage. They won't have to stick with guys as long, especially when you know for a fact that the pass rush is going to get there in almost no time at all. So I think one person that you can always go back to saying is just like the way that L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie benefited from having Chris Jones there. I mean, Chris Jones is a game wrecker by himself, and we saw that in his game versus the Lions, those guys, they had to cover for a lot longer because that pass rush wasn't getting there without Chris Jones. So I think we're going to see if this pass rush actually ends up being legit, then I think we're probably in store for just a lot of great things from the secondary that is a little bit younger.
Chris, you're my guy. You get it. You understand that. And like I have had. I mean, you probably saw. I mean, you guys definitely saw it. Like just the amount of people that were so upset about the Latu pick, and they're like, pass rush isn't a need, and I was like, I have been pounding the table for pass rush. Gosh, I've lost track how many years I've been pounding the table for like a legitimate, consistent, double-digit sack guy, and they've had a couple guys that have done decent. Like I thought Ebukam was pretty good last year.
Yeah.
But they haven't had that guy. And so I definitely agree with you. I think it'll definitely help your secondary out if Latu is as good as advertised. I mean, I'm sure you guys saw just even in practice, the dude is a wreck. He is reckless, man. He doesn't care. And that's not a bad thing. He doesn't care, man. He is so ready to go. He is so fired up. Mm-hmm. And that's what the Colts need. I mean, honestly. And I think they have a lot of good pieces. They just don't have, or they didn't have, I should say, that true alpha guy. And I think Latu has that capability to do that. And that's just going to help your secondary out so much. I mean, guys, how many times last year did the Colts lose games because of their pass rush? I mean, let's be honest. Like, they broke the franchise record in sacks, but they didn't touch CJ Stroud in that final game. Like, they didn't touch him. They barely touched Aiden O'Connell. They didn't touch Desmond Ridder or Jake Browning. Like, there are multiple games you can point to last year where they just didn't get to the quarterback consistently. And I think that really cost them. And obviously we know the secondary has issues. They're young and experienced, but that'll help them out tremendously if this pass rush can be anywhere near consistent.
Yeah. And the one thing, because it was a talking point, you heard it. It was the talking point. It's just like, well, we had X amount of sacks. And it's just like, that's great. because what that speaks to is the fact that these guys can actually get there. But the thing is, when we're talking about a pass rush, we're talking about being able to actually disrupt a quarterback, being able to not be able to get into a rhythm and literally just make them paranoid. And as many sacks as we had last year, quarterbacks weren't paranoid. Quarterbacks were still able to just get off their, their X amount of yards that they were looking to get. And there were a lot of games where, because of the fact that the pass rush wasn't there, they weren't able to do it. And I mean, like I said, if we want to talk about a game, we could talk about the Browns game. The Browns game, even though, people are still upset that it came down to officiating, PJ Walker was able to just throw the ball almost at will in the second half. And then once Juju Brents got hurt, I mean, he's passing all over our secondary. But the thing is, although we can be mad at the officials, we can be mad at how the game was called, but ultimately, because of the fact that we didn't have the pass rush, we weren't able to throw him off, throw him out of a rhythm, and he was able to go and just get those late game touchdowns. And that's just what we had to deal with. Like, that pass rush is going to generate sack numbers, going to generate great numbers, but we need to make sure that we have somebody who's legitimately striking fear into the quarterback or getting to the quarterback consistently. And I mean, and I think, like I said, Latu, I think that's the guy. You mentioned it before. We've had guys who have been able to just kind of chip away at the pass rush need. I think Kwity Paye was somebody who was supposed to be like a pass rush hybrid, being that he was a good run stopper. But now we see it's just like, all right, he may just still be in that run stopper bag. But I mean, now it's just like Latu is a certified pass rusher by any step of the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we like. That's what we know we're getting, and that's who we know we have now.
Yeah, and again, the guys that they've taken in the past, it's been a lot of traits. It feels like a lot of traits based stuff. Like, I mean, you point to all the second round picks they've thrown in, at pass rushers, and look at the minimal success they've had. But yeah, like Latu is a little combination of both. He's got the physical talent, but he's also got the production. Like, he's one of the best, defensive players in the last 2 years in college football. So yeah, I definitely think he has, if you're going to swing for it, like swing for that guy that's going to help the clear need of your defense. So yeah, I definitely agree with you there. It's, if they can get it fairly consistent, and I'm hoping Charlie Partridge can take a few other guys to the other level, like to something new, like Kwity and Dio, and even a guy like Adi Tamiwa, which we don't talk about a whole lot, but he had some nice moments last year, and a few other young guys too. So I'm really intrigued to see, with the addition of Latu and Charlie Partridge, like, do they figure out some more consistency?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And we're going to get to some more comments, and then we're actually going to go ahead and get out of here because I think we pretty much covered everything. So then Kirby says Robert Saleh has worn out his welcome in New York. Probably. If he doesn't do anything this year, then, I mean, it's whatever. It's like, we'll sweep the Meadowlands. I hope so. And I hope that we get out of that stadium both times completely healthy, because that field is god-awful. Then he says 4-0. I think he was speaking in regards to the second one, or the third one, the weeks 9 through 12. He said, I said that field was bad last week. Yes, that field is awful. So Patriots will get cooked. It's like, sorry, 4-1. I mean, and that's fair, because like I said, Jacksonville is a bugaboo. He said the only game that's a hard game is that last game, Jacksonville. 12-5 just because of that pass rush, Leslie says. And then he said just got sick of that 3rd down and 15 and give up a first down, which we did. And that's, yeah. Then K-Wick 556 from YouTube said, let's go. Yes. So, hey, appreciate you guys. Appreciate everything. Cody, we're going to get out of here, but we want to thank you for coming on. Tell the people where they can find you on social media. Tell them what you have coming up, if you have anything coming up.
Yeah, man. Well, appreciate you guys having me on. Always a pleasure. I would definitely have to do it again. But you can find me just on social media, like you said, on X, on Instagram, on Facebook. You can find me on X and Instagram at CP Felger 55. And then you can find the podcast at BTJ Pod on all those platforms as well. And then, just as far as what we're working on, we have a couple videos kind of in the pipeline here, building off the schedule and stuff like that. And then just looking forward. And like you said, it's kind of that weird point in the off season where it's like, I mean, you kind of have to dig deep in your bag for like, what are some topics we can talk about? These are this is a time for those off season topics. So
Yes.
But looking forward to like OTAs coming up. That'll be definitely good. Try to cover some of those and things like that. But other than that, just trying to plug along till training camp and so yes, sir.
Yes, absolutely. And so tell the people where they can find you on social media.
Yep. You can find me on Twitter, or X, whatever you call it, and on Instagram, just at CP Felger 55.
All right, fantastic. Josh, where can the people find you on social media?
On Twitter or X, you can find me at Who Is Josh Singer.
All right, and then you can find me at CJ Colts Fan on Twitter, Chris Jackson on Facebook. And so other than that, guys, we'll be back next week where we'll be starting our official breakdown of the schedule, 4-part series. Next week, we'll be doing weeks 1 through 4 with the guys. Make sure that you are liking, commenting, sharing. Make sure that you go on the YouTube, follow and subscribe on there. And so with that being said, have a great week. Stay warm. And most importantly,